wait, I'm waiting. I gotta turn my volume down just in case. Oh, it's not showing on my thing. Oh, it's live now. Wait, there's a commercial that shows up first.
Hi. Hi. Hey, hey, hey. Okay, I need the
Hey.
intro. Wow, I am so excited to be here. First of all, it's a girl, a with a special guest. I think I said it in the community tab. My next guest needs no introduction. We have Latoya Ebony in the building. That's right.
Hey. Oh, thank you.
Yes. Girl, first of all, I'm so excited to have you here. It's been a long time in the making, and so many people tag me on all of your content. They're like, oh my God, Latoya and Jen needs to collaborate. Well, there it is.
Your wish is our command. No, I've been watching your videos, I think, because I started making videos in 2010. And when did you start making
I
videos?
started January of 2011.
So yeah, I've been watching you like since the beginning.
I know. I know. And it's funny. It's crazy that we've never met given how long we've been watching each other's content. Just straight stalking, right? Leaving comments once in a while, but how did it take so long for this to happen?
I don't know. I really honestly I don't know. I think for a while, and then we were kind of on the same track in a way. I don't know if I relaxed first or if you relaxed first again, because we had that dip. In my mind, it was a dip because I felt like my hair was in shambles.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Well, it was a
I'm
dip.
gonna say it was a dip for me.
I relaxed in 2017. May of
Okay, I
2017.
relaxed in 2015. I
Okay.
relaxed in June of 2015, and then I cut it all off in December of 2015. So like I literally transitioned for like a few months and I was like, nope,
Yeah.
off.
Same. I honestly power to anybody who transitioned, especially the ones that did a long term transition, like 2 years plus. Wow. You are a
That's a lot.
special type of person. Like it was quick for me too. I think I relaxed in May and big chopped again by December. So it was quick things. And I was going to transition, but then a few months in, I was just like, no, I do not have the patience for this.
Yeah. So and I think we started kind of connecting again around like we had already kind of big chopped and yeah, it's been really cool, I have to say, to see your growth on YouTube and just know that there was somebody else out there to relate to, even though we didn't know each other.
I
That
know.
really, we love the representation.
I know. And same here. It's been amazing seeing your growth as a creator, as a person, as a mom. Ooh. It's been amazing seeing all of that. And like you said, representation mattered, even though we never really talked or reached out to each other in the back end, but just watching and supporting each other, that just goes a long way. I'm having a moment.
Oh my God, it's a big one. Hold on. Let it come in. And we're good. We're good.
Let me drink it down.
Wait, hold on. If I cough a little bit, it's because I don't know. I have this post nasal drip that will not go away. It's so annoying.
Well, welcome
So,
to my channel. Finally, we'll reset the room, as they say on Clubhouse. Thank you to everyone who's joining us today. We are, well, if you don't know, Latoya and I are on a similar journey where we decided to ditch the oils and butters, and it's been a journey, I just want to say. And today we are going to talk about it because we've both gone through the detox. It's been, oh my God, at least 8 weeks for me, and I think a little bit over 4 or 5 for you. Correct me if I'm wrong.
it's been nearly the same amount of time. I want to say maybe like 6 or 7 weeks actually,
Okay.
because I film at least 2 weeks in advance a lot of the time. So, and my videos are sort of the way that they roll out. Like on YouTube right now, I've been on week 4 for like 2 weeks.
Absolutely. We don't film in real time like that. People are usually like, oh my God, like if something happens, they want to get an update right away. And I'm like, no, there's several videos lined up, man.
Yeah, I think, especially for, people who have, all of us, viewers, us, we have very busy lives. And so we have to be very strategic. I have a son who does not respect my work schedule at all. And so I have to really be smart about when I can create content so that I'm there for him and my husband, but that I can also share myself with the world. So, things are just not happening in real time, at all, for the most part. But I have some moments in which they really are happening in real time. So.
Same here. Life is busy. Life is so busy. Like being a content creator, especially in the natural hair space. I say it all the time. Support your favorite content creator if you can. Y'all go and subscribe to Latoya's channel right now because it's hard out here for us. I think it's natural hair is the most difficult type of content that I create out of all of them. And that says a lot.
It's really challenging. Because I mean, when you think about even just the wash day routine, so not only do you have whatever happened before you even get in the shower, then you're in the shower and you're filming, and then most hairstyles take anywhere from like 2, sometimes 3 days to really achieve their full flourish. And you guys don't let us off the hook. You're like, well, what happened the next day though? And so one video can take literally 3 days to film.
Yeah.
So, and then mind you, while we're in the shower doing all of this, we're thinking about all the things. Oh, did the camera catch that? So it's like
triggering.
Like twice as long.
Triggering right now. But we are here to talk about our hair, okay? We're not going to complain too much about the hard job that we have to do every day, because at the end of the day, we love it. We love interacting with you guys. And that's the best part for me. The actual interaction with the viewers, That's what makes it worth it, because I would have given up a long time ago.
Yeah, no, I mean, we wouldn't do it if it weren't worth it, to be honest. It's the best for me. It's the best thing, one of the best things I've ever done, hands down.
Yeah,
hands down.
Yeah, most challenging, most rewarding, most fulfilling. Oh, I'm having another moment.
Except for me, outside of motherhood, that's definitely number one.
Well, I'm not a mother yet, so let's put that out there. All right, so 30-day detox. I guess we want to say what it is exactly, because I think most people know what it is by now, but if you don't know, it is a journey or a different way of taking care of your hair, in a sense where you no longer use raw oils and butters on your hair. And I want to emphasize raw to make sure that I'm not spreading misinformation out in these streets. So ditching your shea butters, yes girl, coconut oil, all of your raw oil in a bottle, we don't use it no more. We are focusing on quality products, and a lot of them are actually made with oils and butters, but it is formulated with the oils and butters and have a purpose for your beautiful hair. So for me, it's been about 8 weeks, similar to you as well. And we want to share our experiences, because at the end of the day, this is the beauty of being an influencer, being able to speak on my journey, what's going on with me. So if someone wants to follow along, or even try, or whatever it is, you want to see if Jen J's hair is still flourishing by Christmas before you try this, then there we go. I'm going to talk about my experience. So is Latoya. I don't know if you want to add to that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think with anything that we do online, we can really only speak for ourselves, and even for me, being a viewer, being able to watch other people create content around their hair and what works, it really does. As a viewer, it helps me sort of mentally work through things. And sometimes it's really helpful to see people, triumph and be like, yes. And I'm like, yes, okay, she did it.
Maybe I can do it.
Maybe you know what I mean? Well, I just remember when I first cut off all of my relaxer, for me, seeing other people successful at being natural, successful in their own way was really encouraging. But at the same time, it's like, take things with a grain of salt, that I'm not in your hair. Like, I would watch my favorite content creators and be like, oh, their hair is absolutely gorgeous. But there's also a level of, okay, that works for them. Not sure if that would work for me, but I still love to watch.
Absolutely. And a lot of the times we'll try something, and if it's not working, it's not working. Not everything is meant for everybody. Even if you want to take someone who doesn't use raw oils and butters. That's what they do, and sometimes it works for them. And you know what? Maybe it doesn't work for somebody else based on preferences, lifestyle, what you want to do, what you don't want to do, what you don't like. There's so many different things that would make you decide to stick with something that you may have tried and didn't like. So I always encourage everyone to do what's best for them, do what's best for your hair, your lifestyle, and all of that. And even if you are giving this journey a chance, the 30-day detox, I also say to actually give it a chance, not just do it for 30 minutes, but like, ooh, that's not for my hair, and just going back. If you're going to do something, just try it and see how it goes. You can always go back. So with all that said, what has been the most difficult part for you, Miss Ebony?
You know what? The most difficult, well, there are multiple things that are challenging. I think, for so many years doing things a very specific way, trying to just train yourself out of other habits. And for me, it wasn't that I didn't like my routine before. To me, I felt like it was very successful. I actually was very happy with where I was. But in trying to give this a real shot, I really had to revert, I was like, oh, okay, wait, hold on. I know we riding this bike, but I need to stop for a second. We got to figure this one out because, for example, I'm a finger detangler all day, every day.
Yeah.
And learning how, because occasionally I will use a detangling brush, but learning how to use that brush in an effective way for me on a consistent basis is something that I'm like, do I like, I don't, and my habit is to go, you know what, forget about it.
You know what, though? I have to say, I don't want to jump in, but I'm going to jump in. Finger detangling is still my thing, I don't see the harm in it. I find it to be much, much gentler on my hair. And just to give you guys a little I went to a salon recently. Ooh, a video coming soon. But she was using, her hands and the comb. And every time she picked up that comb, I felt something deep within my belly. It's like, ooh. I love finger detangling. And I this is why I say do what's best for you. What is the harm in finger detangling? Especially if you are doing it properly, making sure that your hair is thoroughly detangled. I think you can get away with just using your fingers.
Yeah, absolutely. And I went through a revolution with my detangling process. No, I started with the very first detangling product I ever used was a wide tooth comb. And I had many years using just a wide tooth comb. It is there in the evidence of my videos. And there was a period of time where I was using the Tangle Teaser when that first came out.
Yeah.
I remember trying the Dim brush one time on my own. It was like, never again.
Not that
and
one.
Then it just then I went back to the comb and then my fingers, and I was like, this is it for me. But now I'm kind of using a combination of my fingers and the brush, because what I do find is that there's honestly nothing that can come between me and my hands and my hair. They're just I'm sorry, they're on my body. They're there as a tool. But the challenge for me sometimes, depending on what hairstyle I had that before that wash day, if I have more tangles, I do find that it is beneficial for me to go in with the brush at my roots.
Yeah.
My roots, they revert back. And sometimes, you know, you just have to use a combination of finger, a little bit of the brush, and then go back to your fingers if you want, at least for me. So it really, there's no, I never do every wash day exactly the same. It's a case by case basis for me.
That's very important to say, depending on what's going on with your hair, right?
Exactly.
I'm also a finger detangler followed by a brush, and I've done it all. I've done all of the brushes that you mentioned. Yes, the Denman is hell. We
I feel like that's a blow drying. I don't even think that brush was meant to detangle the hair.
Exactly. That's what I've discovered in my research ever since starting the whole, you know, no oil, no butter thing. I know they say that's not the name, but whatever. It's supposed to be for blow drying, and like there are so many rows, and the way that they are angled, you can tell maybe it's meant for something, like it's created for a specific purpose other than detangling. Because I mean, I don't know. Okay, that's it. That's all I have to say about the Denman brush.
And at the end of the day, if someone likes it and it's working for them, then
Then
hey.
use it. Absolutely. Do what works for you. That's the most important thing always. So, mindset shift had to happen. I think it was rough for me to even allow myself to do this based on what I read, you know, washing your hair, conditioning your hair. Okay. Not using a deep conditioner. Fine. And then going in with gel. I was like, no way, Jose. That's when you lost me. They lost me at gel. How was that mindset shift for you?
Well, typically, so okay, for me, my journey was a little different because I don't, for those of you who are familiar with my channel, I was doing the Anthony Dickey method for nearly a year before I started this.
That's
so
true.
wash and goes for me, it never was. When I started the 30-day hair detox, it wasn't a struggle for me. I already had found success in another routine, another way of doing it. And so that part really didn't intimidate me. I will say, so with the Anthony Dickey method, he has his own product line and it's very creamy, very different from what I'm used to. I'm used to trying the gels, but he introduced like a creamy aspect to it and then topped with the mousse. So transitioning into the 30-day hair detox, starting with the gel, I remember thinking, I feel like my hair about to be dry as hell. Because in my head, I've always paired a gel with some kind of leave-in, almost as if I wanted, like, if you've ever done makeup, I used to be a makeup artist, and you prime your skin, right? So you prime your skin with a makeup primer, and then you go in with your foundation. Well, that's how I've always viewed leave-in conditioner.
Okay.
You know, I prime my hair, and then I go in with the gel. And so the introduction of just skipping that all together, I was like, oh, I don't think you understand my hair though. I don't think you understand what I need. Okay.
Did you find that it was a huge difference, let's say, with leave-in and then without?
With the product that I use, actually not that much of a difference. I feel like the feel of it going on my hair is different. Like when my hair is saturated with water and say I'm using Uncle Funky's, right? It has this like very, it's almost like I can hear the squeakiness still. Like I'm like, I don't know. But when it dries, there's this very nice, soft, luscious, bouncy feeling to it, and you can actually feel the product on the hair. So for me, it actually kind of changes once it dries. So it's a very different experience. Whereas when I'm using like a leave-in and a gel, it's like I can feel that coating immediately.
Okay, you know what? I want to try that out then, because I've been doing Uncle Funky straight, and I can relate exactly what you mean by that squeaky feeling that's still there.
Yeah.
It goes away when I use So for my topper, I've been using I Create Hold, and it goes away when I go in with that. But I'm not a huge fan of the squeaky feeling. And I mean, I'll do it, but it kind of makes me feel like my hair is just dry under.
Exactly.
But then when
I
it
always
dries,
talk with the mousse as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I've never just gone with just the Uncle Funkies. I always need my little mousse because that slippery feeling at the end is like, it's like the cherry on top. I'm like, yes, give me the slip. Give it to me.
I've used Most Def as a topper, just my last wash and go. And yes, the slip in that product, I don't even know how to describe it because it's just fluffy and slippery. Although it doesn't stay, my hair doesn't stay as moisturized as I expect from the Doux. It's probably because the entire internet and their mothers has hyped up that product in my head. I really thought that my bank account was going to be unswole after using the Doux. Okay, all of my sins were forgiven after buying that product. And on top of that, I waited like a month for it to be delivered. So the anticipation was like up there. I wanted the Doux to clean my house, but it did not do that. Anyways, before we even move on, we are going to talk about all of our favorite products while using this method, and it's going to be posted on Latoya's channel, so y'all better subscribe, you know what I'm saying? We'll talk about all the products that we love or didn't love on her channel. But yeah, so this is going to be more of the experience, but I just had to squeeze in that Doux is good at first, but then after a couple of days, I don't know, I didn't get that moisture that I'm so used to when you describe Uncle Funky's, for example.
Interesting. Oh, wait, are we taking a water break?
My experience, I don't know. Take it with a grain of salt.
Well, I also have never tried I Create Hold, so you may be comparing, in your head, like I Create Hold versus versus the Mousse Def. Maybe you already have that sort of, you're like, no, this is not as good. Whereas I have only compared Hair Rules and Mousse Def. And I actually prefer Hair Rules a little bit more over Mousse Def. Really? So that's interesting.
Interesting. Well, shout out to Karen M here. We have Karen M who gave us a nice, is that a badge? What do you call it on YouTube? Thank you, Karen, for your support. Wow, I appreciate it so much. I have no words. You see it? Wow, Karen in the building, y'all. Shout out to Karen for supporting the channel. All right. So let's go step by step at this point. If you guys have any questions, of course, go ahead and ask them. I think someone left a question that I wanted to, or a comment that I wanted to address. She said, for a good wash and go, finger detangling alone won't do it. It's Maya. And the first thing that comes to mind is, what is the definition? What is a good wash and go? It's my first question. Because I imagine, if you're going for definition, perhaps you want to have your hair nicely detangled with a brush to get maximum definition. But if you're not so concerned about definition, and I'm thinking about all the wash and goes that you've done, Toya, on your channel, you've been finger detangling, right?
Yeah, my whole journey with wash and goes, for the most part, has been finger detangling, and I've gotten great results. So I think that whenever anyone is talking about like what's good and bad, we have to just keep in mind preference, because I've seen so many wash and goes in which it's very flat. Like it's just very flat, very defined, no frizz, perfect curls and coils, just like that's it. And that's the look they want. And for me, like even this for me is way too flat. My hair is actually still a little damp. So for me, I need volume. And I actually like a little frizz. I like, if there's no frizz whatsoever, I'm like, I remember even being relaxed. I'm like, first relaxer day, I was like, I just feel like this is not serving me. And then it would be like day, like a week after when you're washing your hair and it gets all fluffy and poofy and people are going, girl, what you gonna do with your hair? I was like, this is the look.
This is the look. It's a vibe.
But I think that there is, when it comes to finger detangling and, being proficient in it, if that's what the comment is on, is that person doesn't feel like they're being proficient enough with the finger detangling, I can see where that would cause some issues. You have to be very thorough in general so that you're not like piling up the knots week after week because you're not. So I think for most people, they find that a brush will help them really get at those tangles in a more efficient way than their fingers. So Absolutely. It just depends on the person.
Just because you're finger detangling doesn't mean you get to cut some corners. You still got to be thorough with it. It doesn't work that way. Speaking of your hair, first of all, let's take a moment to appreciate this wash and go we got going on here. So you need to give us the details. Wow.
I feel like it's so crazy because for me, I'm looking at your hair and I'm like, well, give me the deets, girl, because I love the volume. No, this is Uncle Funky's daughter. By the way, everyone says Uncle Funky's, and I'm like, what's this Uncle Funky's? I see Uncle Funky's daughter, but I don't see Uncle Funky's. What are they talking about? Like when I was first trying to find this product, I was like, I wonder if it's this one. So it's Uncle Funky's daughter. They're Curly Magic, topped with the Doux Mousse Def. So that was my styling combination to achieve this halfway dry look. You guys can see like the ends are so wet. I sat under the dryer for like an hour. My roots feel good, but the ends,
Interesting. Your roots feel good. Typically it's the opposite.
Well, my roots like here where the dryer hit, it feels good. But then underneath, and my normal. Ends still need some time. So I might be taking advantage of the sun today a little bit, or even going in with my diffuser just a little bit to give me a little faster dry time. But really for me, I'll just go take a walk outside and I'm good.
That's true. And I like what you said as well with different looks when it comes to a wash and go, because this is also a wash and go. And with my hair though, I feel like there are some topper gels that are heavier that's supposed to give you length, etc. And my hair will start out a little bit, laying down, but she likes to go up. She likes to dry up. So this is also a wash and go. And this morning I kind of just, mess around with it because I personally don't love the super defined, straight down wash and go look. I'd rather just have my hair be out and about and crazy. I would rather sacrifice definition over length, I guess, if we want to put it that way.
Same. I just did a hairstyle that's going to come out on my channel tomorrow that literally I intentionally made my hair look short, like a short bob, because I wanted that look. For me, it's not always about showing length or definition. Sometimes I just want a different look. And it's so interesting that you say that because depending on the products that you use, and the look that you have in mind, you really can create a completely different look with either product or technique, right? Mm-hmm. So I find that when I air dry, I get a lot more volume than when I'm under the dryer.
Okay.
I get a lot more frizz, and I love it.
Which makes sense, right? And in my research, the stylist of Black Girl Curls, Aisha and Elise, got to give them a shout out first of all. In any case, they will say to sit under the dryer because you need to dry your set. It's supposed to go from, I guess, wet to dry or semi-dry quickly, so it stays that way. And I remember the first time I was doing this, but I'm like, but what if I don't want it to stay that way? What if I'm okay with a slow drying process of Uncle Funky's, especially because it feels so good, right? It's nice and soft with the gel before it even dries, right? Like maybe I'm fine with that. So I think it still comes down to preference. Obviously, I'm not a professional when it comes to the science of hair. But if I had to choose, I would still kind of embrace what my hair naturally does, in a sense.
Yeah. And you know what? That's the first thing. So I don't know if you guys know, my mother is a cosmetologist. I used to go to the salon every day after school, check in on my mom, say, Mom, what's up? Can I get a little for free, you know? But I would sit there and I would notice that the first thing, the best hairstylists, the ones that got the most customers back to back, is they would, before suggesting anything, before anything, they would sit and listen. They would sit and they would listen to the client that was in front of them thoroughly. And they would ask them what they were currently doing, what challenges they were having, and what outcome did they want. And many times they had to override their own idea of what they would want for the client for what the client asked for.
Okay.
You know, so it was, sometimes it was like, oh, someone would say, unless they thought it was going to be incredibly damaging, like, I want to go bleach blonde right now, today. And they're like jet black. They're like, ah.
Are you sure?
You know, the good ones, they'd be like, this is what I recommend. But at the end of the day, the client wants what they want. And so, you know, the hairstyles could be like, oh, I think that with your face shape, maybe having a little volume here, or maybe, you know, would you want something that had a little bit more movement? And I, in particular, noticed that the older clients, the more mature clients, they would be like, nah, keep it hard. I need this to be. I, you know, because, you know, they're very used to like the set with the rollers and the, you know what I mean? It's very different than sort of what the modern ideal of like having flowy hair and this is what people want now. But back then it wasn't necessarily the same way. Like, do you guys remember the 90s? It was all about that hard Ampro gel and the waterfall hairstyles and you know what I mean? So all in all, it was really the best ones really listened to their client and said, hey, what do you want? And let me help you get there.
I agree. And at the end of the day, it's what the client wants, right? You want your client to leave your chair. I would imagine if I was a stylist, you would want your clients to leave my chair happy. I guess to a certain extent, but still happy at the end of the day. It's their hair. It must be difficult, I must say, for example, let's say nowadays. I think there is a bit of new ideas being put out. For example, newer stylists or the ones that are trained in the art of natural hair, and the older generation that maybe went to cosmetology school and were not technically taught how to care for natural hair. That's what I'm hearing online, that there is a discrepancy when it comes to learning natural hair in cosmetology school. When I got my hair done just recently, the stylist was saying, and that's Canada, so the climate may be different than the States, but she went to school and she said, no, there's nothing about natural hair. They had one little section when it was just, straighten it, and that's it. No conversation about how to care for it. So you go to cosmetology school and you get no knowledge on how to care for the hair of the clients that you likely will have. It's so interesting to me in 2021.
So here's the thing, right? Whenever you go to any kind of trade school, they're teaching you how to make a living. Essentially, that's why you're there, right? You're there to learn, you're spending your money so that at the end of this, you have a flourishing career, right? And so what they're teaching you how to do, in my opinion, is how to make a living for yourself. And most people, when they sit in that chair, they don't like what they have and they want something else. Like when you just think about, you know, the person that comes in with straight hair, they want a perm. The person that comes in with curly hair, they want it straight. I mean, that is essentially how you make a living for yourself, is helping people get to the opposite of what they want. You have gray, you want it colored. And so this whole like revolution of, actually, I like my hair the way that it is, I just want it enhanced a bit, is very new. It's very new. And so there's a lot of, you know, people or cosmetologists who are now learning how to give that particular service. How do I keep what you have but enhance it, which is very different than what they were taught in cosmetology school. They were taught how to change color. Like, this is me thinking, going through my mother's cosmetology books, and everything was about how to alter the hair to the opposite. So I think that is where the disconnect sort of happened, when there was such a resurgence of people really wanting to feel comfortable in who they are and the way that their hair grows out of their scalp. No texturizers, no nothing, because even in the 60s, 70s, when there was the Afro, people were still texturizing their hair because it was about, it was that was my husband, because of the political statement that was in style. And it was also the political statement of, I am Black, you will see me, Black power. Like, there was a lot of that, there's also today a political statement as well. But I mean, it was very much that. So there were a lot of people who maybe couldn't achieve the Afro, who were putting chemicals in their hair so that they could achieve that. So it's slightly different than where we're at now, where we're kind of wanting to accept what's actually growing out of our scalps, but in an enhanced way, or looking for ways to enhance that. So
absolutely. Such a deep conversation that we're getting into when we came to talk originally about our experience of using no oils and butters. But this conversation, I honestly, I feel like could go on for days. There's so much to unpack about natural hair, right? It's much deeper than what's going on, let's say, right now. Our experience, let's bring it back. Shampoo, condition, and style. Let's go with the shampoo step. What do you want to tell? What's your experience has been like when it comes to shampooing?
So for me, and it depends on how you want to learn. There are some people who will like study. I have some areas in my life where I'm like, I'm not touching anything until I know it all. Like, I definitely am like an instruction reader before I put things together. However, when it comes to doing my hair, sometimes I just like to jump in. What's working, what's not working, and just get that hands-on experience. And so for me, the shampoo like step of that actually has been the biggest challenge for me. So shampoo, conditioning, and detangling, the biggest challenge for me, trying to cocktail what works for me and my hair. So that's something that I'm even still to this day still discovering, still rolling through, still sharing, like, hey y'all, remember what I did last week? Yeah. This week we're gonna try this. But for me, that's the fun of it, you know?
I agree. That's what makes it fun for us as content creators too, right? It's sharing a journey. It's always been about sharing the journey. I think, well, let me not speak for every content creator, but for me, it's a lot of it has been sharing what's going on with me, what's going on with my hair, how can I figure out my hair? Because when I started my channel, for example, my hair was falling out in clumps. I was doing everything that I was not supposed to be doing. And I wasn't an expert, but I was still sharing what I was doing at that moment. So, yeah, like when it comes to shampooing, it's been a huge... I don't want to say huge adjustment. The biggest adjustment for me would be how my hair feels after wash day. Like how it's without the coating, so to speak, of oils, how my hair is. And I had accepted my hair and the texture. I wasn't trying to change or alter my hair in any shape or form before that. But just how it behaves, how it's acting a little differently, that's been the huge difference for me. However, when it comes to shampooing, that's the close second, because I wasn't shampooing my hair as thoroughly or as deeply as I do now. I'm clarifying more often, and I'm using just harsher shampoos. I'm not pre-pooing. So going into the shampoo step, I think is just it stresses me out a little bit. When I get in the shower with all my sections, I'm like, anxiety's kicking in. Like, are we really doing this, Jen? So how my hair feels during the shampoo stage, wow, it's completely different.
think that for me in particular, the pressure is a little higher than like if I were in my own privacy, like I'm in the privacy of my bathroom, I'm doing things and and it's like, that didn't work. But when you allow yourself to sort of be in public, that's when you're like, okay. But that's the thrill of it for me. I don't know. Maybe I like to live on the loud side a little bit. But no, that you mentioned the coating, like not having that coating on your hair. I didn't even realize I had a coating on my hair until I tried this, and I said, "Oh, that's like squeaky clean." Okay, and because I spent so many years trying to avoid that feeling, I feel like there has been a conditioning in the natural hair community that feeling is a bad feeling, and you don't want that because it's so bad your hair is going to break and your hair is going to be dry and brittle and and that's just not the case for everyone. And so like having to unlearn that and really get down to, okay, what is the purpose of me being in the shower right now, washing my hair? The purpose is to cleanse it, and if I'm not properly cleansing it, then
what are we really doing?
What was I doing? So I've always said this, there's many ways to skin a cat. And like right now, I'm just at this point where I am in a learning process, and I'm accepting that sometimes it's uncomfortable, but I'm trying to get to the other side.
Yeah, I agree. I still don't love that squeaky feeling on my hair, though. I'm just saying. I'd rather just have my hair if it's in twist while I'm washing and clarifying and whatnot, then it's fine. But if it's out and I'm washing and clarifying and all of that, no. Like my hair gets tangly. And that's a fact. I don't want to spend 35, 45 minutes detangling because I'm grown. I got stuff to do.
Does it really make a difference, like whether you're washing your hair in sections or not, as long as you are washing that section properly? Like, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like that there's so many ways to do it, as long as you're getting your hair clean. Like, doesn't make, like, I think if I wash my hair in 4 sections, which actually today I did, you would never know.
Don't tell nobody.
You would never know. You'd be like, Toya always washes her hair loose. She probably did that. But no, I actually took it section by section because I really wanted to be thorough. So, at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's where it comes down to do what's best for you. If your hair is shorter, you don't need to do sections. If it doesn't matter for you, then don't do sections. But if it does and you notice a difference, especially coming from, like, I've always washed in sections, and I spent a month and a half not washing in sections, and I miss it. So I want to go back. I think it's okay to make that choice personally. Conditioning step. What about not using any deep conditioners?
Say what? What did you say, Jenny?
Huh? What?
You said what? You said not using conditioners?
Huh?
Hey, you said not
using.
What do you mean by that?
Oh my God.
I remember going through the course and seeing that deep conditioners were for treatment, like they're meant for treatments. And that hurt my spirit a little bit. Which, I mean, it makes sense, right? When you go inside the store, they literally will say, this is a protein mask, treatment mask. This is for moisturizing. So it makes sense, obviously. That's why they formulated the product. But for someone like me who literally deep condition every single week, and so for me, the deep conditioning step and kind of saturating my hair with water was my magic sauce.
Yeah.
Like, that's how I detangled so quickly. My detangling was like 20, 25 minutes. I love that thick, rich coating. I love that it could handle me saturating my hair with water while the conditioner was still on. And I had amazing slip with various products. So, that has been the hardest step for me to let go of. And so, yeah, I was going to say more, but let me stop there.
Well, deep conditioning was my life. I have several videos where I say I don't even use regular conditioners anymore. I just go straight in for the gold, you know what I mean? And it's been my thing. Um, I'm trying to think if I've noticed such a huge difference, let's say using a deep conditioner versus not, especially with the higher quality products that I guess we've been using. And I would say during, and it could have also been because of the coating of oils that was there. So of course the deep conditioners felt like they were more nourishing. So now without that coating, it just, my hair just feels conditioned. It doesn't feel as slippery or as nourished as it used to feel. However, after when you style, like all of that goes away. It's like a temporary feeling for me, especially if you're styling with the high quality products with humectants, etc., that's going to hold moisture into your hair. I feel like that's where it really matters with my new, thoughts process about hair care.
Yeah, for me, I think that the ending result of having hydrated hair has not changed for me, thankfully. I still feel like my hair is hydrated. I still get the same amount of days. My scalp still needs, and also for me, things are a little different because I have an extra concern. I have seborrheic dermatitis. And so my cleansing and everything, it really just depends on my scalp more than anything else. As far as the conditioner, no, I haven't noticed an actual difference in terms of retention and hydration or anything not using that deep conditioner. For me, it literally is just the detangling step that I'm working through. I'm like, for me, honestly, just using a conditioner, like a regular basic conditioner, is just not the same. It's just not the same. I mean, I think we all, of course, it's not going to feel the same, but yeah. I'm still working through that. So we'll see what happens. We'll see.
Do you think washing in sections is going to help you with detangling, or do you think it's a deep conditioner that you just need, period?
Well, today I washed in sections. How'd I go? I think it really is the product. I think for me, finding the right product and then using the right technique for me and my density and my coil pattern and surface texture and all of that.
Because you have a lot of hair and you have high density, at least from what I can tell, through the screen. It looks like there's a lot of hair going on there and like a lot of it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, that experience that I actually didn't mind before is now it's shifting. So I'm still, honestly, I'm working through it. And there will be a lot of people that go, well, why don't you just go back to what, works? And I actually don't have a problem with doing that. But for me, it's about sticking with it until I feel like I found the way that will work for me, with the proper steps for my hair, until I can go, okay, I've tried it.
Yeah. And I think that's very important to say. I think with any new method, there are going to be some growing pains. There's going to be some figuring out, some learning, unlearning, etc. Because even when I was figuring out my hair back in 2011, I was in my bathroom doing a lot. Figuring this out, maybe I should try this, maybe doing this, let me try sections, there's a lot of trial and error, so to speak. And with this method, where I'm realizing that people are doing a lot of trial and errors and they're not speaking about it, although they are, is with the styling part. Sure, they'll use the shampoo conditioner, but then when it comes to the gel, which is based on your preference, what do you want, what is the end result, etc., then you use it. Oh, I'm using this as a topper. That's what I hear. Or I use that as a topper. Someone left a comment saying that they use the Doux first and then Uncle Funky on top of that. Immediately, I'm like, oh my God, I gotta try that. But that's what I mean, where we're still doing quite a bit of experimentation and figuring out what we want at the end of the day. So there's still quite a bit of trial and error. And I think that's okay. That's the joy of taking care of your hair or figuring something out or learning about your hair personally. I think that's fun.
Yeah, I just had a stylist talk to me about how she recommends that her clients detangle with the curly magic in their hair, and how it's like changed people's lives. Yeah.
Okay.
Detangling with the styler. I was like, really? And then she even recommended to me, because of the harsh shampoo that I have to use for my scalp, when I'm having those flare-ups from the seborrheic dermatitis, I have to, I don't know what your audience knows, so I'm like, because of this, because of this.
I can't.
Because of that, she was like, hey, it's a treatment shampoo meant for your scalp. I'm like, yes. She's like, so maybe we're just focusing on the scalp. And then in order to protect our hair, we're putting a conditioner on the hair. So that's something that I tried out today that I actually filmed. It's like, I'm putting a conditioner on my hair. And it really reminded me of those relaxer days, right? Where we're putting the relaxer on our roots, but then we're using petroleum jelly on our ends and on our around here to like protect our hair from the chemical. And I was like, okay, that's an interesting concept. And knowing me, of course, I tried
it. Of course. Someone left a comment that I want to read. Where'd it go? Oh no, I lost it. Something about the slippery, it was the coating. As we were talking about the coating of oils on our hair, she said that slippery feeling is coated hair or buildup. Most people don't know what their hair feels like without greasy hair. That greasy feeling is what most consider moisture and soft hair. This is a comment by Kia. And that's interesting. I think you are right. The overuse of oils and deep butters over the years, especially if one isn't properly cleansing their hair, can be chaotic. That can cause some issue. I can see why it's really important to thoroughly reset your routine. Even if you are going to continue with oils and butters, and I always say this on my channel too, make sure at least take something out of this whole journey, which is clean your hair, clean your scalp properly. Take the time to do it. Even if you have to clarify every 4 weeks, do that. Whatever the case may be for you, but just make sure that you're properly cleansing your hair and resetting your routine weekly.
And that's the biggest takeaway that I think I've gotten from doing the detox and sort of diving deeper into this way of doing things is the cleansing step, right? Because here's the thing. If I go to a stylist right now and I say I want to blow my hair out, the majority of the stylists are going to have some kind of silicone in their thermal treatments. They're either using serums, they're going to be using or sprays. There are so many different types of thermal products or thermal resistant products. You guys know what I mean. Heat resistant products, and most of them, majority of them, have silicones in them because it's a way of protecting your hair. And so knowing that, and that's where the critical thinking process comes in for me, right? It's going, all right, if I've done this, if I've worked out, if I've used a silicone product because I flat-ironed my hair feels really dry or it's really tangly, like whatever my hair is doing in that moment, that's going to affect what I do when I get in the shower. And so if I know that I've used something that's going to give like a coating, if like I used deep conditioner last time, or I use silicones, or I use grease on my hair, I know that I probably need to do a deeper cleanse the next time I get in the shower. And that's one of the things I really appreciate about the 30-day hair detox, is really teaching you how to think critically about the products that you choose.
And also understanding their purpose, right? I think a lot of the times we buy products and use them or don't use them and keep buying more products, and just why? And why do we need a certain product versus another? And also understanding ingredients, I think, goes a long way. I see there's a whole debate about glycerin here, and understanding what it is, the role that it plays in your products is very important as well. So from the 30-day detox, same as you, I understand the importance of cleansing your hair and scalp, but also looking at the ingredient list of your products. And then not doing too much. I think it's a very simple way of caring for your hair. I came from the days where I did a whole lot to my hair. You know, the 2012 to 2015 years, MINOnatural was doing a lot. But then I started dialing back, you know, just keeping the steps that I thought were essentials, which was pre-pooing, shampooing, deep conditioning, and then moisturizing my hair. So I didn't really do anything else outside of that. But this is even simpler, where it's just shampoo, conditioning, and styling. Mm-hmm. Which I think, when I think about moisturizing and styling, I guess in the way that we're using them in the routine, I see that we're taking away the oil coating, but we're still coating our hair with the botanical gel, a humectant, whatnot, that's going to allow moisture inside of your strands, so it stays moisturized longer throughout the week. Because that's basically been my experience. My hair stays moisturized, I want to say 4 or 5 days. I don't feel like I need to wet it. I don't need to spritz any water on it. Like, it feels softer and more moisturized throughout the week based on the products that I'm using.
Yeah. And, I have a very similar experience, in particular when I'm doing the wash and go and I'm using a product that has so many humectants, or such a huge humectant property to it, especially because I live in a humid environment. So, getting that humidity and allowing it to keep my hair moist is really nice. But yeah. I honestly, to be honest, I don't know if this particular routine would be as effective in California, where it's super dry. I don't know. So I think that it's just that's why it's so important to just think critically about where you are and what you're doing in your particular hair. Like, I do have like medium to high density hair. It is a little longer, but then there are certain things in my routine that I cut out a long time ago because I became a mom. And I was like, we are not doing these extra steps because, can I do without them, because the needs in my life changed. Yeah. And so like, and I feel like that's always going to happen. There's going to be a time where my son is older now and he's off to school, and maybe I do want to spend a little bit more time on myself, my self-care, and so it's something that's always going to evolve for me.
Absolutely. And I personally love spending time with my hair. It's my me time. I don't see it being problematic if I have to spend an hour, 2, 3, 4 on self-care. Like, we're doing it all. We're doing hair, skin, scrubbing the body. It's a whole thing for me. So I enjoy that. I want to do the most. Let me do the most.
God are the days for me.
Listen, I will do it for you, sis. Give me listen, next time I do my self-care, I'll be like, I'll do an extra hour for you, Toya.
Or you can just fly to United States, come grab my son.
That too. That I'll babysit. Cool. Yeah. All right. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and leave it in the chat. We'll take a few questions before we wrap things up. We said we're going to do an hour. That it depends on Toya, because I think Toya's son is coming home from school and Toya gotta go.
Y'all. Well, my husband, he's really good at like being like, okay, she's busy, let's give mommy some time. But yeah, I'm looking in the comments too. That's why I've been looking down as well, because I'm just like, but I'm terrible reading comments and trying to complete my thought. I'm literally the worst.
Well, you know what? This is a skill. Like, having to read, formulate a thought, and talk at the same time. It's a skill that I've learned. Hand-eye mouth coordination that I've learned being an influencer. Like, it's not easy.
Oh, there was something that you said earlier, and I wanted to say this too, because I was going to say it on my channel. Well, 2 things about like the likes and dislikes. I remember, we were even having a private conversation of like, okay, so now I'm not coating my hair with oil and butters, but I feel like I'm still coating my hair. And for me, I think the difference is it's water soluble. Like, I think that's the big difference is like, gels and you know the products that we're using, the humectant products and everything, they're all water soluble, which is very different than like an oil base or a cream base or an oil or a butter based product. You know, that's a wax coating that needs a very particular ingredient to remove from the hair. And so even though there's like layers of coats, because if you ever seen anyone do it, I mean, they can use like 3 toppers.
I know.
Like not toppers, but like, you know, they'll be like gel and then this gel
yeah.
and then this. And because they're going for a very specific look, but the difference is that it's just a lot easier to get off the hair.
And you can tell when it's how easy it is to take off your hair, because as soon as you hop in the shower and you wet your hair, honestly, it feels like my hair's already washed. Like I'm good to go. Like let's hop right out. Like you can feel how easy it is for, you know, Uncle Funky plus, let's say I create hold, for example, slide right out of your hair as soon as you wet it. So that's something that I've noticed.
So for me, like one of the criticisms I guess I would have for the 30-day hair detox for me is it does seem very first world centric.
Oh, I agree.
Very first world centric. You know, the idea of washing your hair, you know, because so many people say, well, how do I remoisturize my hair, right? How do I remoisturize my hair? And it's like, the answer typically is get back in the shower. There is no like adding more product. You just get back in the shower and you do it. But I mean, I'm just thinking about my audience and maybe even your audience, Jen, is like, we have a large audience in other countries, third world countries, that maybe don't either have access to the products or don't have access to clean water in the same way that we do in the States. And so that's why I'm always trying to be very respectful of different cultures, different ways of life, because what I do on my channel is because of the access that I have to the things in my life. And, you know, I don't think that clean water should be a luxury. It should be a human right, but that's the reality of it, is that it is a luxury in the eyes of some people. And so, you know, that's why I just try to be very cognizant and accepting that, you know, there are so many different ways to do this or to take care of your hair, so many different methods. And that for me, though this is basic hair care, it's literally in the cosmetology books. This is not the only way to achieve your goal, in my opinion. I think that cleansing step for me is really, really big. Like if you can get your hands on a proper cleansing that's right for your lifestyle and when you have access to water, that's my biggest takeaway from all of this. It's like, get the proper cleansers. Like if you can't wash your hair for a month because that's just your life, then reassess the products that you're using to cleanse your hair so that, you know, you can still achieve the results that you want. You can still achieve optimal moisture and hydration as much as you can from your place of living and your environment, so that because you're able to use the proper products to remove those coatings if you're in a position where you can't stop using oil and butter because that's what's available to you.
Absolutely.
So,
and I think it ties right into the availability of the products, right? Because a lot of people are very concerned about, I can't get this specific product or I can't use this specific conditioner. And at the end of the day, you have to use what you have. Method goes a long way, right? In how you take care of your hair and your ability to retain your length. So the way you're taking care of your hair, how you're caring for your hair when you're going through your routine. And as you said, making sure that routine is actually doing what it's supposed to be doing, such as cleansing your hair properly and going through the motions that way. So that could be a whole conversation in itself, I think.
Yeah, 100%.
There's a fun...
I just wanted to...
Oh, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say that because I had noticed in my comment section from people living in other areas in which they feel like, I can't do this. Does this mean that my hair will never be healthy? And so I just want to give respect and honor to other ways of life, other lifestyles, and other methods that have grown my hair in particular.
My hair too.
You know, yeah. And so like this is basic hair care, which is why so many people that follow 30-day hair detox say that it's not a method, it's not a special routine, this is a lifestyle. It's because really it really is just teaching you how to properly cleanse and use the proper ingredients and or products. It's the idea of it is not revolutionary. But I just wanted to make sure that I said that piece for those people that are like, I'm never going to be able to do this. It's like, it's not the end of the world. There are people somewhere in Africa with hair all the way down to their booty crack who only use oils all day long. So.
Absolutely. There's a reason why we started doing them in the first place. Like, it worked. You know, it worked. Exactly. And perhaps it wasn't doing what we thought it was doing, but it sure worked. There's a fun question. What's your favorite superficial side effect to this new way of doing hair? And her answer, this is Sabine. She said, mine is how I don't leave oil residue on my glasses if I put them on my head. Oh, I can totally relate to that. Like, I would say not leaving oil residue on my pillows. Not pillowcases, girl. Pillows.
Yeah.
That would be the one for me.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I would say so too. I never was like a heavy butter user. I used to use it maybe to get a very specific style that had a certain hold. Just taking, especially shea butter, taking advantage of the way it cools and how it can hold your hair in a specific way. But as far as oil, it's so weird for me because I never, on my channel, if you watch any of my routines, I'm always talking about don't overuse your products. I've never been heavy-handed in that way, at least within the past like 7-8 years. When I first started, I was going ham. My pillows, you know, they were not cute. And I remember dating, and like, I remember one time like in a very, very serious relationship where I lived with someone and, you know, I'm sleeping and I remember like rolling over from a fresh day of doing my hair and having this big oil stain or like sitting, like being self-conscious at people's, in people's houses and like sitting on their couch and they have like the higher couches and like checking and being like it, or people's headrests inside their car and being like, don't relax back, girl. You don't get oil.
Oh,
especially with my Caucasian friends, I will say, because they just didn't get it.
They don't get it. So yeah. I guess the leaving the oils, we don't miss the greasy, overly greasy feeling or leaving oils everywhere. Yeah. Next question here. Do we not find the gels drying? Let me make it very clear. We're not talking about any kind of gels. We're talking about botanical gels. And there's a huge difference here because, before this method, I really wasn't checking for botanical gels like that. But now it's a whole different ball game, you know? It's very moisturizing. It's like using a moisturizer on your hair, especially, for example, like I don't want to say I hate, but we keep mentioning Uncle Funky. But it's very nice. It's not drying. It's not made out of plastic ingredients. It's not going to make your hair extremely hard. So no, I don't find the gels drying. Well, not at all. Depending on the gel that you use, I'm sure there's differences. Some gels are created to give you more hold versus others, but for me it hadn't been an issue, especially by using a botanical or a gel with a lot of humectants under a gel that could be potentially drying.
I think you answered it.
I said it all. Okay. Let's see what else we have here. There it is. How do you guys think this method will work long term for hair growth, primarily for preventing breakage, with removing the protective barrier and regularly stripping the hair? Oh, I was.
Okay, we double dishing. I like in my head. I'm double dishing. Like you going to?
I don't mind taking it, but I answered the last one, so maybe I'll let you take it.
Well, I mean, for me, like I just think about like my past year and some changes doing wash and goes in general, and I know we're not. There's two things that changed my routine for me, and it had nothing to do with like oils. It had nothing to do. For me, what changed my breakage rate the most was washing my hair more often. Saturating my hair with water, that changes everything. And I think that that's another reason why so many people that do wash and goes, their hair is flourishing because they're just in the shower all the time.
Yeah.
And water is just that natural thing that we get from earth that you can't beat it.
Yeah.
You really can't beat it. And so even if someone is like, well, what if someone's like, oh, I don't like wash and goes, da da da. Even for me, I don't wear wash and goes most of the time. I actually wear lots of twist outs. And for me, my scalp informed me that I can't go 2, 3, 4 weeks without washing my hair. I have to wash it every week, or we're gonna have some problems with Zoe. Zoe's not having it, okay? And so it kind of turned like something that was uncomfortable and embarrassing for me. My scalp condition actually ended up turning into a slight blessing because it taught me that washing my hair actually is great. Like the more saturating my hair with water, my hair is flourishing because of that. So I don't even think for me it had to do with not using oil or butter or using oil and butter. It had to do with water.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a very good answer. You had your internal clock letting you know when to wash your hair. So with her question, she also mentioned hair growth. And I just want to add to that and say that hair growth comes from within, right? So none of the products that you're using is going to make your hair grow. Eat well, exercise, especially mind your business. Mind your business is, for some reason, it's the key to hair growth. Don't stress out, and that will allow your hair to grow. Make sure you're not deficient in any vitamins. That's how you grow your hair. And with breakage, if your hair is dry, then you need to hydrate your hair, and water is going to do all of that. Now, I think there is the idea of stripping your hair with shampoos. I think that has been perhaps a misconception because we don't like the feeling. We labeled it as, oh, your hair is being stripped. But no, you're cleaning your hair. Unless you're overly washing, and I mean, I don't want to go into the whole science of it. But unless you're doing that, then you're cleaning your hair. This is a feeling of clean hair. But we've labeled it as something negative, and we avoided getting to that point because, oh, that's stripping. Oh, that's going to break my hair. My hair is going to get brittle. But no, your hair is just going to get clean. So it's about shifting the mindset around what your hair is supposed to feel like, I think.
I'd like to also add a couple of things to that. I think that there's the cleansing process and having that very clean feeling, and then what you do after that, right? So even if you are properly shampooing your hair, but say you are waiting a longer time to wash your hair, that could essentially my son's at the door. It could affect the experience that you have as well. But also, I mean, I'm thinking of the cosmetology books and how they're just saying the same thing: wash, hydrate, condition, literally over and over again. And the big miss for me was when they got to black hair and they were like, we don't know what to do for you. Relax
it. Okay, I see.
And it was like, well, our Caucasian friends around the world, they've been doing the same thing their whole, and in fact, I had Caucasian friends who were just like, my hair gets so greasy, I have to wash my hair more often because of that side effect, because of the sebum coming out of their scalp. Mm-hmm. And so there was just this opposite thing that the natural hair community said, and also the textbooks kind of baited it like, but there's something wrong with you. Your hair needs to be treated so much differently than this person's hair. Mm-hmm. And yes, there are very, very key characteristics. I'm not going to even try to say that they're not. But in terms of how like from a scientific point of view, and how pH balance works, and how our hair reacts, all of the layers of our hair strands and everything, there's not that much of a difference.
Yeah.
And so I think that it was kind of a miss there, being like, this works for these people, but for you,
change it up, relax it. Well, I'm so glad that we are speaking a different story, us in the natural hair community, and embracing our hair, especially the way that it grows out of our scalp, and not trying to do too much to it. I am all for that. I think it's great it's very refreshing, freeing to accept all of you. Hair, skin, body size. It's very refreshing, especially when society's telling you otherwise.
Can I also add something?
Of course.
Just to what I said. Hey, Da Vinci. And just as a little caveat to that, it's not even that I even think that necessarily textbooks were saying that Black hair needed something different. I think it was just the perception that maybe Black hair needed something different. Does that make sense? So
that makes sense.
I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I didn't talk to whoever is, the textbook person of all the cosmetology books.
Throwing shade at whoever it is that wrote the book. Well, since your son is here, we're going to wrap things up. Thank you so much for joining us today, me and my audience. Of course, we enjoy Toya. We had a great conversation. I thank you for your time. And do you have anything to say to wrap things up?
I enjoyed my time here. You guys, thank you so much thank you, Jen, for graciously inviting me to be here today. If you like natural hair care and you like a little splash of fashion and things like that, you can go ahead, check me out on my channel, Latoya Ebony. Or my website, LatoyaEbony.com. And if you're just tuning in, because I know the algorithm works a little different when somebody's live, I also encourage you to subscribe to Jen's channel, because my analytics tell me that if you like Jen's content, you'll probably like mine. And if you like my content, you will probably like Jen's content. So I just wanted to say that. And thank you so much for having me.
Of course. All of her links will be down below. She is so close. I can taste it to 100K. It needs to happen. I just can't wait for it to happen for you. Thank you so much for joining. All the links that you need and anything that you want to check out, some of the products that we talked about today are going to be linked down below, along with my self-care box. Shout out to me and IMONatural for putting something together. I can't leave without talking about it. So check out the description box below. We are going to have a little sip on Latoya's channel as well about all of the favorite products that are not so favorites that we've been using during the no oil and butter journey. I encourage you to give it a shot if that's what you want. But if your hair is thriving and you don't want to change anything, girl, do you, boo? Okay? Thank you so much for joining, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.